Hello friends, Jenkins Dota here, bringing you another Dota 2 video on behalf of Pvgna.com. This is going to be part of the Offlaning with Pudge in 7.07 video series. And in this video, what I'm going to be covering is a replay of a team fight where I played fundamentally kind of the role that you will typically play as Pudge in most team fights. Now, like I said, it's a very typical sort of role, and that role is playing kind of as a disabler, as a guy who's kind of just changing up the positioning of the team fight, or somebody who's killing a support, somebody who's disabling a very important hero. So you're playing kind of as this utility hero, not so much as like, you know, a hard damage dealer or anything like that. You're really focusing mostly on the utility. There's another way to play Pudge. So I said typical, and the reason for that is because you can also play Pudge as a tank. That's a very easy role. You just run in, soak as much crap as possible, and you know, it's pretty good. Most tanky heroes can be played like that. The later you go into the game, the better that is, depending on the heroes you're against, but that just goes for any tanky hero. So really, this is the playstyle that I want to focus on. So here we are in a team fight. This is a pretty high-rated game. Everybody's, you know, pretty good at this game. It was pretty even, and this team fight started. We were right by our bottom tier 2. Tinker is about to get hooked, which is very bad because Tinker is a very crucial hero in a game of Dota. The clockwork goes in, they use the AA blast on Tinker. I force-staff him out, so I tried to kind of, you know, save the Tinker there because he's such an important hero. And you can see that what I do in this situation is I don't run straight into the mix. While that would be something that you can do if you're playing that tanky variety of Pudge, because they have a Terrorblade and because they have a Shadow Fiend, I was actually feeling very vulnerable this game. Even with 3000 HP, the Terrorblade was munching through me because I have 6-1 armor. So it was actually very difficult for me to play as that tanky frontliner. So what my intention here was to alienate kind of any of the heroes. Ideally, I would be going for the supports because I know that if I do alienate them, since I'm over here by myself, I'll be able to solo kill whoever it is that I alienate. I see that the clockwork is one of the, you know, he's their primary disabler, you know, in general, and in this area as well. The SF as a BKB, it would actually be okay to hook him and then bite him, but my idea was that this clockwork is already disabled, so he's a really easy setup because he's in these cogs. So this is just a guaranteed, and it's a really great way to win this team fight. And he's their primary disabler. He's the guy who's going to get on top of the Tinker and cause the Tinker to have a lot of problems. Tinker can actually use all the spells amongst all of these other heroes. He can actually get a bunch of stuff off before he dies. I know he's probably dead, but we were basically just trying to stall and get as much as we can out of the fight, get as much damage from Tinker as we can, put them on the back lines and have them run away because they are on our turf, right? It's actually very hard for them to fight here. The longer they stay here, the more dangerous it becomes. So we just want to waste as much time as possible. And the way that I do that is by, and this is presumably why the Shadow Shaman also went for the Clockwork, is because he's the primary disabler. Without the Shadow Shaman disabling this guy, Clockwork's just going to go ham, disable the Tinker, he's going to die in 2 seconds, and Clock is going to go and, you know, go in the Doom or whatever. So I just abuse this. I abuse that he's just in a really bad position. I throw the Urn on him, so that way if I don't hit the hook, well, he's still going to have the Urn on him. That's going to do a little bit of damage. And I hook him over into here, into the tower area, because this is totally separated from where this team fight is. In fact, there's cogs that's blocking this off. So this clockwork is guaranteed to be dead, and that means that their primary disabler is going to be guaranteed to be dead after this clockwork comes into this tower. And also, this is in the tower, so he clearly does not want to fight here. So even though I'm a Pudge and he's a clockwork, it's actually very hard for me to deal with this hero usually, but because of how late it is, and because of being in the tower, it's very hard for him to do anything. And also his team was focusing on the Tinker in that situation. So you can see that as, you know, the team fight was over here, and I waited in the wings to alienate somebody from the middle of the team fight, an important hero, bring them into the wings and kill them, so that it's now going to be a 4v5. And then the team fight moves over to the location where I alienated that person to. That's a very typical thing. So instead of running into them and trying to tank, what I'm going to do is I'm going to run into the edge of the team fight again, except since the team fight is changing positions, I'm running over here into the trees, wasting their time until my hook is off cooldown, and then what I'm going to try and do is alienate somebody else. So what I'm going to do is I'm basically, as the team fight progresses, I'm going to hook somebody, pull them out of the fight, kill them, hook somebody, pull them out of the fight, kill them, and then I'm going to do that for as long as possible until the enemy team has no more resources left, and then I'm going to chase them to the death. And kind of a bad situation that can occur is if you hook a hero that can actually turn and kill you, or a hero that's tanky enough that they that they won't die in the time that their team can come over and change where the team fight is to where you are. So you can see that they actually look to dive us, and they're positioning to try and kill us, but I'm trying really, really hard to just avoid damage here. I'm not trying to tank at all. And what I'm trying to do here is I'm going to, so I actually go to try and hook the Shadow Fiend, but unfortunately the Tinker blinks right in front of me on this timing. But they were focusing so much on us in the trees, you know, in the wings, because I had just hooked the Clockwork, and they're like, okay, this, you know, the two supports are in the trees, they're really easy to kill, that the DK just goes in and kills them all, and you know, they're on the back lines now. The Aegis is out, the Tinker respawns, Terrorblade is in the trees because he was trying to do the same thing, just kind of avoid and, oh, did somebody put a Lincoln Sphere on me? That was a good play, man. Oh no, sorry, that was a Terrorblade's. That was a Terrorblade's Lincoln Sphere. I broke it with Dismember. But you can see now they're on the back lines in this fight that actually, with the Tinker getting focused first, as I throw that hook optimistically on the Shadow Shaman, thinking that he might turn to the left. But we actually take their Aegis, and we take their entire team. So while this fight was obviously not entirely on me by any means, you know, not even close, I like to think that because I hooked their primary disabler into a situation where Clockwork was nothing in that fight. It was basically a fight is occurring, that his team turns around and is like, hey guys, what happened to Clockwork? That's the idea. You want to be that guy, and to be that guy, you need to be hiding. You need to be on the side of the team fight. You don't want to get in the middle of the team fight if you're playing this utility sort of Pudge who's just trying to hook as many people off. You want to pick as many people off in the team fight. Use the team fight as a distraction to hit those really, really easy hooks, to pull people into towers, to pull people out of position into places that they don't want to be, like into high ground. You know, onto high ground, maybe even if there's not a tower, you can pull them onto this high ground. Just pull them out of position so their team needs to get into a really, really bad position to defend them, or you kill them. And in most cases, you just kill them. And then you wait until hook is up by sitting in the sidelines of the fight even more, or if they run away, you chase after them, and then you hook again, and then eventually they'll run away, and then you just chase after them. So basically, you hook, hide, they run away, you chase. That's how you do it. You want to use hook as many times as possible in the fight to reposition people, to take them into bad positions, and just basically turn the fight that was on their terms into a fight that's on your terms by saying, no, we're fighting over here, or you're letting me kill your Clockwork. That's what you need to do in these fights if you're playing this sort of Pudge. Or you can just get really tanky and run in there like an idiot and tank a bunch of spells, and then your team kills them all. That'll do it too in a lot of situations, but not this one. So actually, here's the fight again. So you can see it started off very, very poorly, actually. So this is taking a fight that was on their terms and making it into our terms. Obviously, if you take a fight where you hook somebody to start it, well, then that's a, you know, pretty obvious win, because it's going to be a 4v5, and in most situations, if you hook anybody, you're going to win the fight. You know, if you're the one initiating it. So that's also kind of the third option for how to play Pudge. But this really is, you know, the important thing. When you're in a fight, what do you actually do? And that's what I like to do. I like to hook, hide, hook, hide, hook, hide, hook, hide until they run, and then kill them all. So that's it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. I do genuinely appreciate it, guys, and I hope to see you in the next video.